This week we're painting fun and colorful popsicle stickers right in Procreate. Then I'll walk you through printing and cutting them at home using a Cricut or even just scissors. This is a super simple process to inject some summer fun into your journals, planners, and more. Let's get started. First, we need to create our Procreate canvas, and if you're following along and printing and cutting these out using a Cricut, you will want to use a 9" by 7" canvas. And that part's really important because once you get into design space, it limits you on the size that you can use, and we want to make these stickers as close to the size that we want them at as possible. And to do that, I've created a sticker sizing cheat sheet, and I'll leave a link to this right in the video description. And what it is, it's just a JPEG, but it's got the different sizes. And because Procreate doesn't allow you to have rulers where you can actually measure and see what size you're using, this guide will allow you to know exactly what size your stickers will be. So I'm just going to insert that. I've already downloaded that JPEG and put it into my Photos app. So I'm just going to hit the wrench, add category, insert a photo. And this is what that sheet looks like. And if you're on a 9" by 7" canvas, it'll bring it in and line it up perfectly. So these are real sizes. So now I know if I want a 2" high sticker, this is what I need to use. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not sure how wide my stickers will be. I know they won't be 2 inches wide, but that part doesn't really matter to me. I just want to make sure they're at least 2 inches tall. So what I'm going to do is just reduce the opacity of this and then create a brand new layer, and then just grab black or any color here. I've got the default monoline brush selected. It's found in the calligraphy category, and I've got a pretty small size right here. And all I'm going to do is trace this box, and then I can reuse this wherever I need it, and I will always know that this is 2 inches by 2 inches. And obviously, if you want a different size, there's others to choose from. So I've got my 2" by 2". I don't need this cheat sheet anymore, so I'm just going to turn that off. And now I'm going to use this box. Because I've done this already, I know that I can fit 4 across and then 3 tall. So I'm just going to duplicate this. If you go into your snapping category and turn on magnetics but not snapping, this will allow you to just slide this over. And I just do my best guess here because my width doesn't matter as much as my height. And then I can just pinch these together, create another duplicate. And now I know I'm going 4 across. I can tap for small increments and then pinch these ones, duplicate, and then drag 2 copies down. Now I can pinch all of these together and then just kind of center it a little bit better on here, and then reduce the opacity so it's not annoying while you're drawing. And now we're good to go. So I'm just going to show you a quick demo of how I've painted my popsicle stickers. You can create any version that you'd like, any colors that you'd like. So I'm just going to show you the simple process that I follow to create these little cute illustrations. So I'll create a brand new layer. You can use any brush set that you would like. I am using my brand new Mixed Media Lovers brush set. And in the painting category, there's stamps and washes and other texture shapes that you can choose from. But the Mixed Media category, there's these 4 brush sets within the master brush set. So under the mixed media, you've got all these painting brushes. So I like using the Pro Acrylic for my popsicle stick. And then I like playing around with my watercolor brushes for the different popsicles themselves. So I'm grabbing the Pro Acrylic and I'm just going to grab a light brown color, and I am on that brand new layer, and I can just paint a stick in. It's just an elongated oval, so pretty basic. I'm going to increase the size on this. And if I go over it multiple times, you can see I've got a little bit of a color shift in here, which just makes it look more painterly. I just love that look. And it's got some streakiness to it, which I also really like. So just a really basic stick here, and we can reuse this stick as well for our other popsicles. And then I'll create a brand new layer. I'm going to change the color to any random color, and then go to my Round with Soft Edges brush. This one's got built-in texture, so it works really well for these. In order to plan out the shape of your popsicle, I like doing a sketch first, and then I'll paint it in after that, because with this brush you want to continuously paint so you get that texture. Otherwise, if you lift up your stylus and go back down again, you're going to get that wet on dry effect. So you have double opacity here, and that's just not the look I'm going for this particular illustration. So I want to make sure that I paint it in one fell swoop, and the best way to do that is to have a sketch beforehand. So I'm just going to sketch out the shape that I want. I kind of want like the boxy quintessential popsicle shape for a few of these. And I like having mine look a little wonky, but if you like yours more precise, just remember that when you draw a line, you just hold and then it'll snap. I like this one. I think it's a little off kilter, so I'm just going to straighten it a little bit. And now I've got my outline that I can work from. I'm going to reduce the opacity on this, create a brand new layer, and then just paint it in with the same brush, but I'm making sure that I keep my stylus down for the entire painting here. Now I can turn off my outline. I don't need it anymore. This ended up even more wonky than I was expecting, but that's okay. I can increase the opacity by just duplicating my layer if I feel like it's too transparent. I think I want to increase it a little bit, but not too much. So I'm going to duplicate this and then reduce my opacity down to like 50%. So it's like 1.5 versus a full 2. And then I can just pinch these together and I'm ready to go. To add some extra details in these, I want to add those lines that are obvious on most popsicles. So I'm going to create a brand new layer. I'm still using the same color, but I'm going to change the blend mode to multiply and then reduce the opacity down to 50% because I don't want it to be too strong. And then I can just paint in those lines. I kind of just freehand this part. I'm just making sure that they're obvious. I'm going to increase the opacity a little bit more. So I'm coming up to 65% and then create a brand new layer. And this time I'm going to add a little bit of shadows to show that these are indented within the popsicle. So I'm going to do a larger shadow on the inside of this one, but I need to change the blend mode so it's a little easier to see. So this one's going to be multiply and we can reduce the opacity afterwards. And then this side is going to be a little bit thinner. And I'm going to reduce the opacity. Let's go down to 50% on this one. And then we just need a little bit of highlight to make it really pop forward. So I'm going to create a brand new layer and change my color, this mint color, to a brighter version. And then just paint this on. And I'm not changing the blend mode for this one. That one's not looking obvious enough, so I'm going to make it a little brighter. There we go. That's a nice little highlight. And then if you wanted to add some shiny details, you could do that too. I'm going to create a brand new layer, still using that same color, and just draw some highlight lines. And then we can reduce the opacity for this, or you could change the blend mode to overlay. That works really well sometimes. So I think that's what I'm going to do here, and still reduce my opacity down to about 50%. So now if I zoom out, I've got a cute little popsicle and this one's all set. So you would just repeat that process. If you want to add, I just remembered a little shadow right here. That can be a nice additional detail. So I just come down to the stick layer, create a brand new layer, apply a clipping mask, and then change my color to the darker brown and just add a line right here, just to show a little bit more depth. And that's all set. So what I'll do is group all of these together, and then I will create a duplicate of the stick, grab the bottom one, and then drag this outside of the group. So it's going to come all the way to the top, close up your group, and then with the stick selected, I'm going to grab it, make sure you have magnetics turned on again, and then just slide it straight over. It can be anywhere in this box. I just want it somewhat centered. And then you're ready to go with your next popsicle. So that's the process I follow for all of them. So I'm going to show you what all of my popsicles look like if you want a little inspiration or if you'd like to riff on them yourself. So I'm just going to come out of my gallery view. So here are my completed popsicles. And now we need to prep these so we can send them into Cricut, and then they'll be cut with a die cut around them. So I want to show you how to do that. First, we need to turn off our grid. Now we've got all of these floating freely and they look so fun together. And what we also need to do is turn off the background color, and we need to make a selection of all of these. Because of that die cut, we're automating everything so you don't have to draw these individually. And what you need to do is 3-finger swipe, choose copy all, make sure you're all the way up at the top, and then 3-finger swipe again and choose paste. Now we can turn off the visibility of all of our previous groups. We don't need them anymore, but we've got them here if we ever want to make adjustments in the future. So this flattened image up here is all of these just on their own layer. And now we're going to create that die cut. So what you'll want to do is come to the layers thumbnail, tap on it, and then choose select. Create a brand new layer. We're going to change the color to white, so double tap where white is. and then come back to your layers, tap on the layer thumbnail, and choose Fill Layer. Now you want to duplicate this 3 times, especially if you've used watercolor brushes, because you can see we've got transparency, you can see some of the color through them, and we want it pretty opaque here because that die cut has to be opaque. So I'm going to duplicate this 2 times and then pinch all of them together. And now we've got some nice solid lines in here. It's okay if you've got a little transparency showing through. If it's bothering you, you can just duplicate it again until they're all eliminated. So now that I've got this, I'm going to drag it underneath this layer with our colored popsicles, and this is what's going to create our die cut. So the die cut is that little extra area around our artwork that gets cut. That way when the Cricut cuts these out, it's not going to accidentally cut any of your artwork. So what we need to do is expand this selection a little bit, that way it cuts around it. So in order to do that, with your white layer selected, we're going to come up here, hit the magic wand, choose Gaussian blur, and I'm just going to drag this up a little bit. I'm coming up to about 5% because some of these are kind of tight, and if I go too high, then the die cuts will merge into each other and then I won't have separate stickers. So I want to be aware of that. So I'm just going to come up to 5% on this, and that's good. Next, I'm going to do an automatic selection. So I'm going to tap on the selection icon up here. It's the 3rd one. And then down here, make sure automatic is selected and you don't have color fill turned on. Make sure your palette down here looks exactly like mine. And then you're just going to tap anywhere where there's no artwork at all. So I'm just going to tap on the background, it'll turn blue. And this is what you want it to look like. So I've got a small die cut here because I chose a 5% Gaussian blur, but if you chose a larger one, you're just going to have more space around yours. So I can toggle this all the way up if I want to thin it out a little bit, or coming all the way down, you will get harder lines. So if I come in here, you can see I get pixelated edges a little bit. So if I want to reduce those, I can just toggle this up a little bit. And if I go even to 1%, it does reduce it quite a bit. I would notice there's some remnants on this one that I need to take care of. But outside of that, this all looks good. So I'm going to leave this like this, but before you exit this, you need to hit invert down here. So don't forget this part, tap on invert, and now you can come into your layers. I'm still on the white layer and I still have white selected. Tap on the layer thumbnail and choose fill layer. And now that will add that die cut automatically to all of your popsicles. You don't have to draw this manually. I've tried a bunch of different ways to do this, and this is my favorite way. So I wanted to show you how you can automate it. So now we're just going to go in and inspect our edges and make sure everything's pretty clean. If it gets too pixelated, then Cricut will take forever to cut it out. It'll try and actually follow those pixelated edges. So we just want a soft edge for the most part. So I've got white selected. I'm going to revisit that monoline brush from earlier. It just helps make a cleaner edge if you need to clean up anything. Like these ones will be fine. They're small enough where it won't be a big deal. Down here, obviously I need to fix this, so I can just switch to an eraser, erase this back a little bit, and then use my monoline brush to correct anything else if I need to. So if I switch to my brush, I can just come along the edge and it'll give me that softer edge. These ones wouldn't honestly be fine, but I just want to show you like correcting the edge if you want to with the monoline. You definitely do not need to come through every single one of these if you followed this process with the automating. I just like doing a quick double check to make sure there's no obvious, like really hard pixelation. And so far, so good. Some of this can sometimes feel a little strange on this style of popsicle. So I just kind of smooth that out a little bit more. All right, we're good to go. So from here, you're either going to send it to your computer to bring it into Design Space with Cricut, which I will show you all of my settings and how I do that. Or if you don't have a Cricut and you just want to print these out and cut them out with scissors at home, you would send this directly to your printer. And if you choose to do that, I just want to mention really quick the sticker paper that I'm using. I've tried so many transparent sticker papers, I cannot even tell you. And I've had really bad luck with most of them until I found this one, and it's amazing. Like if you decide to do transparent stickers now or in the future ever, make sure you get this brand. It's just, you will see, it's amazing. It keeps your beautiful saturation. This is actually an RGB file. I am not working in CMYK, even though I'm printing at home. It retains that beautiful saturation that you wouldn't get if you made a CMYK file. So make sure you're working in RGB. And then this paper. Oh my gosh. It gives you beautiful saturation. It's transparent. And even when you stick it on things, it keeps that saturation and the transparency. So this is the kind that I use. Just make sure if you are on a home printer like I am, I'm just using a really basic printer scanner combo, and it takes the paper and it flips it when it comes through. So just make sure that you're putting it in the right way. You will know with the transparent because it's got the shiny side and the matte side. So I put the shiny side down, so then when it flips it, it prints on the shiny side. So just something to be aware of. All right, but we are heading into Cricut first so we can get this all ready to get cut out. So in order to do that, I'm just going to hit the wrench, share, and then I'm going to choose PNG. That part's really important. You want to make sure it stays transparent, which we know that we have because we have the grid in the background. The background color is still turned off. This is exactly how we need it to send it into Design Space. So make sure you choose PNG right here. And then I'm just going to send it to my desktop or my laptop, and then I will meet you there. We're in Cricut's creative space, so I'm just going to hit new project up in the top right and then choose blank canvas. Over on the left side, you want to hit upload and then upload image, and I'm just going to drag in that Popsicle PNG that we exported out of Procreate and then hit continue. And then when this pops up, apply and continue, and we want a flat graphic. Continue again, and then we'll hit upload. When it brings it in, it's kind of large. First, I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, and now we need to rescale it. And remember, it was 7 by 9, so I am rescaling it close to 7, but you'll notice on the right side there's that exclamation point. So as I'm scaling down, I'm being aware of that red mark and waiting for it to disappear. And once it does, then I know I'm at a safe size to create the stickers. So then I can hit make. And you want to make sure that you're using a print then cut option, and that should be the default, but if it's not, if you go back under operation and you toggle it down, you just want to make sure print then cut is selected. Once you see it on the mat, you want to hit continue and then wait for it to find your machine. Hit send to printer, and you'll see this screen just letting you know that there's going to be a little triangle in the upper left corner when you apply it to your mat. When this print setup screen shows up, toggle off bleed and make sure you toggle use system dialog and that your printer is selected, and then hit print. It will look like it's doing something, but it's not. You have to actually drag the window down because your print dialog box will show up behind it. And when I toggle on print in color, it actually kind of collapses it. So then I have to reposition it, but then I toggle down media and quality, and my favorite settings for this transparent sticker paper is photo and then best, and then hit print. You can see it coming out of my printer. This is just a really basic home printer scanner combo. And then I'm lining up that little triangle in the upper left corner of my mat and just kind of tacking it down slightly. You'll notice that the transparency has a little tackiness to it. So I put just a regular piece of copy paper on top, and then you can use a paint wedge or a scraper. I'm just using a regular paint scraper for this and just pushing it down onto the mat a little bit better. Once that's done, we can put it into the Cricut, head back into Design Space, and then I like using heavy cardstock 100 pound as my setting. And then for pressure, I always choose more. It just ensures that the stickers are going to be separated from the background. And then I can hit go. You can see the Cricut cutting out these stickers. That line is really obvious, so it's clear that it will be separated from the back paper, and it'll lift up a lot easier when you're trying to remove it from the mat. When you're removing it from the mat, you can either pull the entire background paper off, or you can pull the stickers individually. This is one of Cricut's tools called a spatula, and you can get under the stickers, and sometimes this can really help pull them up, especially if you have a newer mat like I'm using right here. It's just tackier than it usually is because it's a newer mat. That can really come in handy. Now that they're all separated, let's test them out. I put a little scribble on some white paper so you could see the transparency. Isn't that so pretty? And I just press it down, and it's amazing how well it keeps the saturation when it's applied to another surface. And I've got a few scraps of different colored paper, so I'm just peeling off a few other stickers so you can kind of see how the color really does hold up on this transparent sticker paper, no matter what color sticker you decided to print. It's just beautiful. You can still see the paper coming through, and those colors still hold up even if you have watercolor textures built into your stickers. One last one. This will be my daughter's favorite one for sure because it's rainbow. And there you go. So you can play around with different shapes, different designs, different colors, and you can see how well that die cut works. Just a quick reminder that everything mentioned in this video, all the supplies, that free cheat sheet, everything is right in the video description. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you next time.